Hey crafty friends, Fun Stampers Journey Coach Janice Whiting here. I am coach number 33 and am an executive manager with Fun Stampers Journey. In this video, I am going to show you how to create this super cute slider card. I showcased this on our Journey sketches, and if you've ever done a slider card before, you know that it slides to reveal a fun message. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to create this card. Tell you everything that you need to create it, all the ingredients, you know what I mean, products, supplies, everything that you need to create it, and of course show you the techniques of how to do it. All right? Okay, folks, let's get to it. All right, so let's go through everything you need to make this card. First of all, the hero. There's always a hero, and this is of course our unicorn. And in this stamp set, I'm going to go ahead and bring it out. It's called Magical Unicorn, and as you can see, it has 2 full unicorn images as well as some beautiful little decorative pieces. It's got the cupcake, the donut, the heart, the sprinkles, the diamond, the lollipop, the rainbow, and of course, have a magical birthday, believe in yourself, one of a kind, so fabulous. I love that greeting. So this is a full-on awesome stamp set. And yes, it does come with a die set. Hallelujah. So when you cut that unicorn out, of course, you can fussy cut it if you want. You can take your scissors and trim it, or you can use that die that goes with it and let the die do all the cutting for you. And it gives you this beautiful, really professionally done cutout, which is awesome. So, of course, there's that set. Then there's one more stamp set that we use in this, and that is our striped wall stamp set. And ladies and gentlemen, if you do not have striped wall, you need it. This is like an awesome basic background stamp set. You can create any color stripes you want. Black and white is like my favorite. You might have noticed I use it often. And it's the background for this card. Now, I've already pre-stamped one, so you can see out here. It is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. Now you can imagine you can do whatever color you want. You can use part of it, all of it. It is an awesome background stamp. I consider this a staple to have. It covers the entire card front, which is pretty sweet. So again, striped wall. You can imagine all the wonderful things you can do and create with this. It is one of my favorites. And it's a really nice thick stripe too. So striped wall. Those are the 2 die sets that we use, or excuse me, stamp sets that we use, and then we have some dies that are kind of important to this. Number 1 being the clouds. So we have a die set called Cloud Dreams, and this one does come in a bundle with the piercing elements, or you can buy it separate. So there's the Cloud Dreams die, then there's the cloud piercing elements. And in case you're wondering what the difference is, one of them cuts out the shape, the actual cloud, cloud shape. And the other one cuts out these cute little pierced elements just as an added extra design. I love it. I think it just gives the card just that little extra oomph, little bit of interest in it. Okay, so those are the clouds. And then from there you need your journey circles. So I use this to make the rings, that are just this extra. I wanted it to have an extra pop of this pretty pinkish purple. It's called Cosmic Grape. Kind of hard to tell. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. The exact colors. Actually it's more vibrant than it's looking like on film, but maybe on your computer screen it'll look better. So I cut out this ring right here, and then I used part of it for this side and part of it for that little extra bit there. Just a little extra added design element to it. Okay, and then the last thing, or the last die that we use is this, one of the dies from our Journey Rectangle Long sets. It's actually the smallest of the die cutting dies, because this set, as well as the circle set, comes with the die cutting dies and the piercing elements together. So it's 8 total. There's 4 that cut the actual rectangle and 4 that give you the pierced element added benefit to it. So it's really cool. So these 2 are some really great basics to have if you're looking to add to your die collection. You might already have a circle, but do you have one that has that little pierced elements? I don't know, maybe not. Definitely something you want to consider having. Okay, so that's basically what we are going to be using. The only other thing that we're going to add to it, I can grab it here, is our white pan pastel. So I use our white pan pastel to create the background clouds. So you see that I've got the white clouds, the die cuts, and then I went ahead and I added a little bit of a subtle cloud background design, just so that it would, again, just to give it a little bit more interest. You could leave it plain and blue, but I felt like it needed a little bit something more to give it some just depth and dimension. All right. Okay, so those are your supplies. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go through this pretty quickly here. Well, I'll try, right? Famous last words. Yes, I think so. Oh, and then there's my phone. So we're going to start off with a regular card base. So right now I'm doing a tent fold, but tent fold sideways. So you've got a regular, and of course, you know, it could be this way or it could be this way. For our card, we're doing it tent ways. Okay, so you're going to take your card and you're going to stamp it multiple times to get it nice and solid. Now you technically don't need it to be super solid in the middle because it's going to be covered, but I did it using our black licorice ink, which again, if you do not have our black licorice ink, it is a must-have. It is awesome. And I did use a stamping tool to create this just because it's nice and handy when using our background stamps or any background stamp, because if you want to stamp multiple times and get it perfectly aligned, I would definitely recommend one. Okay, so this is your base. From here, you're going to need a piece of our whipped cream, and the dimensions, go ahead and bust out my ruler here, are 5 by 3 3/4. Okay, 5 by 3 3/4. I wanted a little bit of that beautiful black and white stripe to show through, so that's why I cut it a little bit smaller than I would normally. And you could even cut it slightly smaller than that if you wanted to. Okay, then you're going to need, and if you will just ignore the fact that I've die cut this already, but you're going to need one of our Cool Pull pieces, and it's going to be 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. Now you will notice I did die cut it. So using those Journey rectangle longs, I placed it about a 1/2 inch above the bottom and a 1/4 of an inch from the right side. And gosh, I think originally, here's the little piece. Just pretend I hadn't done that yet. Place that here, run it through your machine, and then you've got the little slider, quote unquote, window of your card. All right, so that's going to come into play a little bit later. Then from there, you want another piece of that same color, so Pull Play, and the dimensions on this one are, it's by 4 7/8 by 1 1/2. Or excuse me, 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 4 7/8 by 1 1/4. Now you'll want 2 of these. So I actually cut out 2 and I glued them together using our white liner tape. And the reason being is because on my original, I only did 1. And I mean, yes, it's sturdy, but you can kind of see it's bending here just from lots of use. I have my little girl who wanted to play, and I've been playing with it. And so it's kind of bending a little bit just right there. And so I thought, you know what, for my next one, I'm going to double it up. And I think you can obviously tell it's even sturdier, thicker, so this will hold up better. So there you go. My experience is helping you, hopefully, on your card. All right, so again, it's 4 7/8 by 1 1/4. So this is going to be the part that actually slides back and forth underneath this little guy, okay? All right, so we've got that. That's needed. So again, just going through what you need here. The Cosmic Grape ring, and I created this by die cutting out our largest and second largest circles, and then you get this beautiful ring, and we'll cut this a little bit here and part of it here. You only need 1. And then you'll need some of our whipped cream cloud die cuts, 1 large and 2 small. Again, using the Cloud Dreams die. You'll need to stamp the beautiful unicorn in our black licorice and color it however you want. I wanted it to tie into the Cosmic Grape, so I used our colored pencils. These 3, and specifically, if I can get this one out. So 09, 06, and 036, and I did light on the tips to dark on the outside. And then I used our gold silk to color the hooves and the horn. I also added a little bit of shading with our silver. I'm trying to grab my silver guy. I know where I put him. But our silver colored pencil, here he is, and it is 047. I added a little bit of shading here and there along the edges just to add, again, give it a little bit of more dimension, make it not so flat. So you'll do that. Die cut him out if you have the die, or you can fussy cut. All right, and now from here, we really are pretty much ready to assemble because we've got everything die cut out. We've got all of our stamped images stamped, with the exception of stamping the magical birthday sentiment, which we are going to do here actually right now because it is easiest to do when you have that window ready to go. So I'm going to move the card base out of the way for a minute. I'm going to position this exactly where I want it to go. And it's going to be right in the center. And actually, just so I don't, I mean, sometimes I just don't trust myself. I'm going to get a little bit of some of that low-tack tape. Get that into view. Eek! There we go. All right, get my magnets. Reposition this back. So I forgot that we're using my stamping tool. Yes. Take your time and get it perfectly straight because, you know, you hate it when you stamp something and it's crooked. So we're hoping that that's straight. All right, we're going to ink it up using our black licorice ink, my favorite black. And then bring it down. Yay, it's straight. Hallelujah. And then one more time, again, I like it to be nice and bold. Voila, beautiful. Okay, so I'm ready to take this little guy out. Put my sentiment back. So it's kind of perfect, right? You've got it perfectly aligned to your window that you're going to kind of show everything through. From here, we are going to go ahead and create this beautiful cloud imaging that you see kind of in the background of my card. And let's see if I can put this out here. And to do that, you're going to need a little tool, this little tool here. If I can get my one that had the white on it. All right, and the white pan pastel. So if you have not played with our pan pastels, I highly recommend them. They are so much fun, so versatile, and you can do quite a lot with them. Let me put this guy over here. So I'm just going to create a generic design. Before I do that, though, I'm going to grab my little slider, and I'm going to put him. I'm just going to kind of align him where I want him to be naturally. So I'm also keeping in mind. Let me see this right here. That I want him to be. I want about 1/8 of an inch on either side. Okay, so I'm going to scooch him in. And I do want about 1/4 of an inch hanging off the side, off the edge. Just like that. Good. And what I did, in order for him to kind of stay where he needs to stay, I took a piece of regular copy paper, just, you know, your paper that you would use for your printer, just regular normal copy paper. And I created a little bit of a sheath, okay, for him to kind of slide comfortably in. And it's easy to do. There's no exact, I was about to say there's no exact measurement, but I believe I did it 1/4 of an inch bigger than this, so 1.5, I think, or maybe 1 3/4. I'll go ahead and grab that out so we can see it. Let's see here. So this was 1 3/4. Yeah, I think 1.5 would have been just fine. It technically doesn't matter too much as long as it goes over enough so that when you tape it down, it will stay where it's supposed to stay. Okay, and then the length depends on the length of your sentiment. So my sentiment was about, gosh, I believe it was 2 inches. I'll go ahead and open up this little guy and measure him for you. Yeah, the sentiment was about 2 inches. I think I put the little sheath to cover, gosh, I think it was about, yeah, it was 2 inches long. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Now, here's the deal. You don't want the little cover to cover the place where your sentiment is going to show through, and you cannot see it, but it's basically the part where my unicorn is currently right now. That is where the little sheath is, where you would never be able to tell because it's always hidden either by this piece or by the unicorn itself. So that's where I'm going to tape this little guy onto. And I'm just going to make sure he's over on the edge. Here we go. And then I just use regular tape, just regular Scotch tape, and make sure that it's taped well. Again, why am I doing this? I'm doing it to create a nice barrier so that my slider doesn't slide so much. It's gonna slide, and I don't mean sideways, I mean up and down, because it's gonna move a little bit naturally. It is a slider card, obviously. But you don't want it to move too much that it kind of comes off the track. Now later on, we're gonna put some foam squares there, and you don't want it to come up, you don't want it to pass the actual paper. So I'm gonna trim that just a little bit so that it doesn't overlap. You don't want it to stop any movement from there. And then on the other side as well, right here. Okay, now do you see, it's that right there is creating the little piece that's going to slide. So it's not coming like, it's not moving all over the place. Now I said later on I'm going to come in, I'm going to be putting some foam squares up on top of this, which will then keep it from sliding up and down on this side. But for right now, I'm just creating that kind of, the first part that kind of keeps it together. And I do want to make sure that all of it is taped down. So I just want to be super careful here. And this little bit on the corner right there. All right, so let's go ahead and show you. So if we were here, and remember, my little white piece is on the part, not the part where the sentiment would show, but the opposite end, the right side. I'm pulling this, and now this is gonna, that right there is the slider part. Okay, and that's not going to move up and down so much because I've taped it down. And this part will not move as much because I'm going to have the foam squares. When I adhere all this down, there'll be foam squares here and here. Okay, super cool, huh? And super easy, easy peasy. Sorry for the glare there, or the focusing aspect there. So I'm going to go ahead and make this, kind of put it exactly where I want it, because I'm going to start drawing my little clouds. All right, I'm gonna move this back over here. Move this back. And you do want to draw your clouds before you do everything else, just so you can make sure you have a nice background. So the clouds are really easy. All you do is you just create little wisps, puffs, puffy clouds, wispy clouds. Go in circular motions. Think puffs. Think cotton. There's also going to be, don't forget your dies are going to be right around here, so you don't have to put so many up in here. You do want to continue your cloud pattern onto your slider. That's kind of part of the reason why we're doing these clouds now, because we don't want our slider to be left out. No. Now, the awesome thing about these pan pastels is if you kind of, you start and you make your clouds and you're like, oh, dang it, that one didn't look so good, you can erase it. It's totally erasable, which is awesome. And maybe I'll want one here. My unicorn is going to be right in here, so I'm really not going to spend too much time putting that there. Maybe I'll just do one in the corner. There we go. That's it, guys. That's all. I don't even need really any more. Maybe I'll darken this a little bit. And you can darken it by just adding more layers to it. I think that looks great just how it is. And that's so fun. How easy was that? I just did little circle motions and then boom, I've got clouds. And they're adorable and it looks just perfect. Now later on, once I assemble everything, put everything on, I can come back and add some more if I need to. So we'll see at the end if I need to add some more. All right. Okay, so we've got this piece pretty much done. That was easy peasy. You saw how we created a little sheath for my slider part. Super easy, super simple, not much to it, just a piece of paper and some tape and that's it. That kind of keeps your card where it needs to be. Okay, let's go ahead and begin doing some of the clouds. I can assemble the clouds right now. I can put some of my sparkle tape on the end. So I'm going to go ahead and use, get our big cloud and use my Journey Craft Glue, which is my favorite adhesive, maybe adhesive, that's better. One of my favorite products that we sell is our Journey Craft Glue. It is fantastic glue. All right. We're going to take this and we're going to adhere the big cloud, and I'm only going to put glue on one side because I'm going to be I'm going to be trimming some of that off. So probably about like that, just kind of right a little bit higher, maybe 1/8 of an inch or so from the top. And then we're going to trim, actually I think I want it moved over just a wee bit more. I cut quite a bit of that cloud off, and of course we've got a little bit of glue there, but that's okay. You can take a paper towel, or honestly you could let it dry because it's not going to, it dries clear. But I'll go ahead and smooth it out. I don't want any bumpies on my card. Okay, now once you've got that there, you're going to trim it because obviously you don't want that sticking out. Easy to trim. Turn it upside down. This is the easiest way to trim anything off the edge. And then you've got your clouds there. The other little cloud is going to go off into the left. So there's two that are adhered kind of directly to the card, and that one at the top that is popped up using some pop dots, foam adhesive squares, and it's about halfway in the middle of this little bumpy here. Okay, so I don't know, about 3/4 of the way down. I think I used my unicorn last time to, yes, just it was right above the unicorn, all right? So you can use your unicorn to kind of adjust it. All right, then we're gonna trim, trim, trim. Same, turn it upside down, trim it. And this little guy is ready to go with the exception of my third cloud, which I'm going to pop up using our foam squares. And I think just one foam square will do it. One of our big ones anyway. And this guy goes right above. And make sure I've got my placement just right. Probably like right there. There we go. And this little guy is going to go right here. All right, so we've got the clouds put in there. We'll do our Journey Glazing and Glitter towards the end. We've got our slider portion ready. And now let's get the other part set up. And actually, what we need for that is our white background with the magical birthday stamped on already. Right? And then really all we're doing here is we're adding our foam squares to pop it up, creating the border for our slider. And what I do is I use half of one of our medium foam squares. So take half, take one and trim it in half, just like that. And it's about the perfect size to create that boundary. And you know what? I think I might trim it a little bit more. We'll put this one here. And I do want to create a nice border for them because I don't want it, again, to shimmy so much. And you know, I did those as halves. I thought it was quite enough, but to be perfectly safe, I will do the ones on the bottom in thirds. Basically whatever fits. So if you created your border to be a little bit thinner, then half will, or excuse me, a little bit wider, then half will probably be just fine. If it's a little bit more narrow, kind of like mine, then do thirds, as I'm just doing thirds right now. And thirds fit perfectly. Again, it's creating that border for your slider to, you know, giving it a place to not pass, so it doesn't go any further than it needs to. So even here, I might shift it forward and I'll have it stop right there. And it's going to stop where my foam square tells it to stop. Otherwise, it would just keep on sliding through, right? So I've got that one here and this one here, or that one there and this one here. How about that? And so once it slides, it's going to stop. This is stopping it. So that's your stopping point, and it's not going to go any further than that. Pretty sweet, huh? Okay, so then I've got this one and then the last one. And these don't have to be perfect, because obviously this right here, this portion is actually what's doing most of the control of keeping it together. These other things will be nice, obviously. This is doing the heavy lifting. So from here, I don't have to worry so much about trimming. I will need to do one more right on that edge just so that it doesn't go down on me, just so that's even and popped up. But other than that, putting one here, little foam square on each corner, and then we're going to take the backing off and go ahead and place it onto our white panel here. This is the part, if you watch any of my videos, you know this is the part that I can't stand, just because I feel like it takes so much time, and you're like, come on, Janice, I just want to see how it's done. I don't want to see you taking the backings off of foam squares. I feel your pain. I do. All right, I'm almost done. That's why I want us to create backless ones. Okay, so here we're going to take it. I took all the backings off. You know what? Maybe I'll do one more here just because, you know, for balance and all. And then it's going to go straight on top. Make sure that your slider is not stuck like I just did. Make sure it's right there. Good. And then just try to make sure that it's nice and even and straight like you had it originally. You can do a little tester. Whoa, so cute! So fun. Press down, make sure it's kind of firmly in place. You've got all your little squares that were around it here and here, remember? And then you've got your slider aspect. It's not going to go anywhere. It's stuck. It's not going to go any further than that. It's not going to go any up or down because of the shaft you created or the sheath you created and then the border. Super sweet. Super sweet. Okay. Let's get down to business. We've got this part down pat. Let's get our little unicorn in here. And he's going to, so the deal with the unicorn is that you're not going to adhere him up here because this part moves, right? The only part you're going to adhere is down here. So what I ended up having to do was I kind of just put him down, try to figure out where he was going to be. And then remembered that position, trim some of these foam squares because he's going to be popped up, and try to remember that that's where my unicorn's going to be. So for example, this one is nice and solid. There's got a nice solid space right here. So I'm going to lift up and I'm going to put one down right there. So he's going to be here perfectly. I'm going to take this one that I've just trimmed, and I think he'll fit right there, just right here. And that might be enough for me. I'm going to go ahead and take these off, the backings. And let's go ahead and position him down. 1.5 may just be perfect. That's as long as the idea is that he's adhered, not on top here, but onto the moving slider portion. And so here we go. Whoa, he's done it. So perfect. And you really don't need more than that, to be quite honest. All right, so, oh, forgive me. It's like, you guys know, is it that time? Yep, it's about that time where the sun goes behind a cloud, or it comes out and then it gets darker and lighter. So forgive me for that. Okay, we've got that there. Let's go ahead and do the handle. I've got some of my white sparkle tape, which is so super fun. We're gonna grab just a bit of this, a little bit more than the length of it. I'm gonna take take this guy out a little bit. This is purely decorative. I just thought it would be really pretty to have this glitter part. Put about half of it on, and then you're just going to fold it over on itself. It just creates an even sturdier part for you to pull, and of course you're going to trim the edges. I'm using my Details Pro shears, which are perfect for this kind of cutting. Go ahead and do one more on this side here. And then you've got this really cute glittery, shimmery portion that you're going to use to be able to pull your unicorn from. All right, so we've got this slider portion done. Whoa, so cute. I love it. All right, let's do some decorative things. So let's go ahead and bring back our card. We're going to go ahead and use the little ring that we cut out. And we're going to put her, just a little bit on here. Really, we're using one ring for one part of the card and the other ring, or the other half of the ring for the other side of the card. And what I did was I just basically kind of guesstimated, and then I just put a little bit of glue. I did do some shimmying. Shimmying. So you're only going to see part of this ring, really just gosh, about that much of it, right? So once you've got it adhered down, you're going to trim it. Again, turning it upside down. It's just easier for me to have a nice flush trim. Beautiful. Make sure it's adhered well. And then go to the other side, and I think I put it down low on this one and a little higher on the other one, so maybe I'll go higher on this one. Maybe I'll go here. A little bit of glue, shimmy, shimmy, and then trim. Right here, maybe. Okay, turn it upside down. Gonna have to go up a little bit. There we go. Trim it. And boom, you've got your cute little circle elements there. From here, you're going to adhere or pop up this whole panel onto your background. There we go. And I use pops. I keep on calling them pop-ups, but our foam squares. Turn it upside down. Put one on each corner. One in the middle just for funsies. And then we're going to just basically adhere it straight down on top. And pretty much from here on out, you're just doing all the extra embellishing type techniques. So let's see here. We're going to make it nice and straight, nice and centered. I love the black and white stripes that are peeping out the sides. It's one of my favorite parts of this card. Okay. From here, we're going to add our sparkle dust. Let me zoom back out a little bit so you can see it all in one frame. I think I might add a little bit more of my pan pastel just to make it a little bit brighter, just so those clouds stand out just a little bit more. Just a little bit. A little bit more contrast. Is that good? I think it's good. I love it. There's like not much technique to making those clouds, yet they're very impacting. All right. Busting out my Journey Sequence Pink Worlds. Get a few of those in there. Again, using our craft glue. I'm going to go ahead and put this on here even before I do the glitter, just because I can. Why not? There's the small one, then we have a medium-sized one that goes here. And then I had to add one inside the sentiment panel just because, why not? It's so cute. So I did a medium-sized one right above the C here. And because, we need a little sparkle, little gem hidden. I need more glue. Here we go. All right. The very last thing that we're doing is we are going to add our sparkle dust. Guys, don't you love this card? Man, I love it. I love it. You gotta tell me. If you love it, you gotta tell me. I know it's going a little long. I know some of you guys are like, this is too long, but isn't it worth it? Look how cute this thing is. You know someone would love to receive this. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and bust out my Journey Glaze. Love this stuff. If you don't have this stuff, you need some. Pretty inexpensive for what it does. We have a 4 ounce and we have a 2 ounce. This is our 4 ounce jar, container, what do we call that? And we are going to put some directly on her horn, on her hooves. We'll do that first. And then we'll do the clouds. And our sparkle dust that I'm talking about is this beautiful stuff. It is our microfine glitter. It is awesome. It creates that beautiful shimmer, sparkle shimmer, and it's really, really fine. All right, there we go. Now she is shimmered up. Woo woo. Now you could put it anywhere and everywhere if you wanted. I just kept it pretty simple. Okay, so then the clouds. Now for the clouds, I actually just put the glaze over I kind of left a little bit of a border. So I didn't put shimmer and glaze all over. I just did it in the middle of each cloud. Okay, so that's that first one. You can see just in the middle sections. Now you can do this all 3 at the same time, but I like to be able to control my glitter a little bit more. So precious. Look at that. So fun. I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm going to move her just forward a wee bit so I can get this little cloud done. Isn't that cool? You guys know you want to try it. And you can use anything. So I've used my unicorn, but be creative. There are so many cute ideas out there of what you could use. I mean, I have to admit the unicorn is pretty awesome. Hard to beat, but I've seen some done with different animal stamp sets, some cutie patootie things. Love it. Okay, there's cloud number 2. I'm going to very carefully move this over. And then do this little guy. All right, there it is. So what do you think? Isn't it just super cute? I mean, I'm in love. I'm in love with this little guy. Totally in love. So fun. Now I think my glitter is probably, my glaze isn't quite dry yet. So I'm gonna put it down for a minute so it doesn't pull down on me. I'll play with my one I've already done. So cute. Now I am noticing a difference with my reinforced slider portion. So definitely make sure you use 2 layers of cardstock for that slider. I mean, it is moving super well, and it's sturdy and flat and perfect. Here, I'll get these out so you can see. Granted, I will say that mine did experience a little bit of a water hiccup, but you can see how that one's a little bit bent over use of pulling and pushing. So anyway, just a tip for you when you make the card. But I love it. I hope you love it too. If you are wanting to create one and use the products that I am showcasing here in this video, then go to my website, www.funstampersjourney.com/Janice Whiting, and you can get all of those products that you're going to use today. All right. Super easy. Shop like you would any online store. All right. Thank you so much for bearing with me on this one. Hopefully it was worth it, and we will see you next time. Bye.